Hello my dear friends, this is channel Tomorrow Make and I'm Diana. If it is your first time on this channel, then nice to meet you. My name is Diana Albalawi. I'm a professional makeup artist and hairstylist from Russia, and I also do a little bit of photography. And I make videos on this channel in order to educate you on makeup, to tell you some makeup artists tips that only Russian makeup artists know, and I also do it for my fun, to be honest. But if it is not your first time on this channel, then I'm very glad that you've come here again. As you already know from the thumbnail and the title, today I'll be talking about this gorgeous Natasha Denona Bloom palette. It's a very nice face palette, but it has quite some different opinions on the internet on it. Some people love it, like this is the best cheek glow palette for them, but some people hate it. And today we are going to see if this palette suits you, and if you already have it and you don't know how to use it, I'll tell you the ways to make the best looks of it that you can ever get. So if you're interested in that, then keep watching. So first of all, I want to talk about the brushes that I use to use this palette to have a nice user experience. And that's why, actually that was one of the reasons why I made that video about that copycats. Copycats on Makeup Forever brushes. So you can go and watch that video where I tell everything about the Makeup Forever brushes from AliExpress, which replicate them 100%. Well, okay, 99.9% and 100% when it comes to the bristles. And the actual reason why I made this video was because I wanted to show you how the brush from that set works with this blush, because nothing else worked for me. And as that brush was a copycat, I could not just show it and said, oh, that's like a Makeup Forever brush number 150, because that would have been a lie, although this is like a replica. It's 100% the same. And if you want to, you can go and buy this brush in the official store and get Makeup Forever brush. But if you don't have any money, then you can watch that video and get the link and buy this copycat, which is as good as the original. So talking about the brushes, I tried all sorts of brushes to use this blush efficiently and nicely without patches and everything. Of course, you're waiting a much easier user experience from a higher-end product, but I'll talk about it and you'll see why do I like this product or why I don't like this product. Do you need it or what? But if you have it, this is a very nice video for you to know how to use it efficiently and nicely. So let's move on. First thing I tried is to use a spatula to get it on my hand to make it hygienic. Let's see what happens. And this doesn't work for it because they're quite dry. So you can distribute it on your hand, but it's very hard. It's dry. And to work with it nicely, you really need to distribute it. That's not an option for me and for a nice user experience. So this might not be the best option for makeup artists. You can, but it's hard. That's why Natasha Denona uses this product right from the pan. First thing you may try to use this product with is your fingers. And if you put it on the bare skin, it blends nicely. It blends like a miracle. I'll show it on my hand. I touch it once. This will be enough. And I blend it. And I get a soft, nice flush without any patches. Gorgeous. And although I really like it on the bare skin, I can't use it on the bare skin because I have these red spots on my cheeks after pimples, and this doesn't work for me. The next thing I tried is using sponge. This doesn't work for this blush. I also tried different sorts of synthetic brushes. I tried like regular brushes from Real Techniques, all sorts of them. The blush brush, the foundation brushes, this fluffy, everything. As they have quite thick bristles, they pick up the product, and when you put it, you have red dots. And when you try to blend it, you take off all of your foundation, and that's not an option for me because I have these red spots. I also tried duo fibers, even from Makeup Forever, and that was the best user experience for me at that point. But still, as it has like spiky bristles on the end, it first made these patches, and then I had to blend them, and everything repeated with this pimple, with these red spots. I also tried to use brushes that imitated natural hairs, like imitation of goat hair, and it still didn't work for me because it was these bristles were again too thick. I also tried to use different kinds of natural hair brushes for this blush, and again it didn't work because even if the brush was very soft, as it was natural hair brush, it picked up too much, and I ended up with a very rosy like spot, and I had to distribute it all around, and again it took off my foundation. Didn't work for me. And although I truly love this bright cherry color, it's universally flattering. It flatters, it looks good on almost every skin tone, from light to deep. For light, you may blend it with the highlighter, for example, or the highlighter may be the blush for you because it's also quite vibrant. So when I got this brush, this just changed everything for me with this blush. And this happens because the bristles in here are so soft and delicate, and when I pick up the blush and I put it on my face, it doesn't have any patches, and it distributes so evenly and nicely. It's like a miracle. Let me show. So I touch it once. I use only tapping motions in order not to move my foundation as much as I can. One more time. With this brush, you can truly control how much you put on your face. So this is how it looks. So it moved a little bit, the concealer, just a tiny little bit, but it's not critical or anything. It still looks very nice. And it was very workable. So the Cream Glow was much less a trickier formula for me. It's more creamy, and it works very nicely with almost like everything. I prefer to use, for example, my fingers just to grab it and then dab it, grab and dab. You can use it with a sponge, like a wet sponge if you want to. You can use it with a brush. You can like spatula it on your hand and then use it in any way you like. So it's very nice. Although I say that the blush is a very tricky product, I say that only because you have to distribute it. And although it blends like nicely, you don't have any problems with that. I have a problem with it moving my foundation or exactly my concealer with my red spots. So if you don't have any problems in this area, if it's like clean, you don't have any red spots, then you won't have any problems with the blush. So now it's time for the Cream Glow. I'll use my fingers and I'll dab it on my cheekbones. You see, it already has this little bit of natural blush, so it can be your, for example, everyday blushy highlight. This is what we have now. And now I'll add a little bit of the blush on this side as well. It blends so nicely. I also like to add this blush a little bit on top of my bare lids, just with the same big brush, quite a big for eyelids at least. And I work it a little bit into my temples. Now it's time for the Duo Glow, and I'm actually not a very big fan of duochromatic blushes. I think it's a little bit too much for me. It's too bright, and it can show the texture on this area a little bit more. It's not my issue, but I think for quite a lot of people it can be an issue. Anyway, it's a whole like accent on your face, and one of maybe the main focuses of your face on your face if you put a duochromatic blush, so be aware of that. I think that you can use like almost any fluffy brush for that. I'll use this fan brush. As you can see, it gives like this very vibrant golden glow all over the place where I put it, all over my cheek. So if you want this flushy golden cheek, like this tasty, like an apple cheek, then go ahead. I don't think that this is truly 100% my thing, but still, I would most likely use it like as an eyeshadow maybe. This color makes a beautiful eyeshadow color. So it's very close to the color in the Pat McGrath Mothership 7 Divine Rose 1, and there is like this VR Rose Gold Venice, something like that. It's quite close, not 100%, but it has the same vibe. So this makes a very gorgeous, beautiful eyeshadow color, and you can definitely use this one for that purpose. Denona was actually saying, or it was written somewhere, that you can use all these colors as well as on your face and as well on your eyes. I add a little bit less on this side and it looks much more reasonable. Less too much. It's a strange combination of words. If you watched the video with the masterclass by Natasha Denona in Russia, I'll leave this link here and in the description bar as well. Then you know all concept of this palette because she was talking quite in depth about that. What she said was that she believed that a highlighter, a powder highlighter, should be put on a cream highlighter. If you do that, your skin won't take all the moisture out of your powder highlighter and it won't look very dry on the skin. If you put it on top of the cream, first of all, it makes your highlighter last longer, appear brighter, and also look more dewy. And you can truly achieve a very nice dew effect with this palette, and especially with the Glow Extreme. It's quite a bright highlighter, and you should put it on the face very strategically, not like everywhere. With this highlighter, you can really achieve glass skin effect. She suggested using your finger for applying it, and she applied it on top of the these duochrome highlighters so that you have these distributed more soft highlighter around and like this extreme shine on the top of your cheekbone in the place you put it. Do you see this effect? I was going to truly criticize this palette, but it's gorgeous. It's really gorgeous. This highlighter is not very light, so I suggest really putting it on top of like a high blush or on top of bronzer, or otherwise it may look a little bit too dark, especially on lighter skin tone. So keep that in mind. I'll also put it in my inside corner of the eye. So I'll do the rest of my makeup and I'll come back to show you how you can use this palette also on your lips. So I powdered my face, added mascara and did my brows again a little bit. Now it's time for the lips. I'll just pick up the blush and put it on my lips. After I added a wash of color of this blush on my lips, I can add a little bit more in the center to make this like more like a flower effect, from the deeper color in the inside to the outside, like a little bit of an ombre. This texture feels quite dry on the lips, so you can't leave it on your own. You have to add a little bit of a balm or a lip gloss on top, and then you'll feel much better. But that's not all. I want to add a little bit of this duochromatic blush on top of my lips to have this more metal-y, shiny effect and emphasize my natural curves of the lips. I'm not adding it in the center of my lips. I think that if I add a tiny little bit of a gloss, this will be the look. So that's the finished look. So I hope that you like this in-depth tutorial how I use this palette. And now I'm going to show you the swatches of this gorgeous baby. So here are they on the fingers, and here are they swatched. We have a cream highlighter, a cream blush, a powder highlighter, and a duochrome blush, which is also like blush highlighter, something like that, also powder. The colors are beautiful, they're quite universal, and they suit most of the people, so this is the nice thing about this palette. After watching this video, I think you have the question: do I need this palette? Do I need to purchase this palette? It's quite an expensive palette. I think that the chance that this is a must-have palette for you is about maybe 30%, maybe 40%. What do you need to love this palette? First of all, you need to have as least texture as possible here, especially if you want to use the duochrome blush. If you're going to use it as an eyeshadow, then you have no problem with this palette. If you want to use the duochrome blush and you have the texture on your cheeks, no, this is not for you. The next thing I found quite tricky about this palette is, as I have these red spots after my small pimples, and as I put this blush on them, it's quite hard to make the blush work evenly and not move the product under it. It will apply to, I think, all the cream blushes because they'll move the foundation a tiny little bit. So if you have this problem as I do, then maybe cream blushes are not the best choice for you. But still, I found the way to make it work, and it wasn't even hard, as I already found the way to make it work. So if you already have this palette and you have this problem, then you might consider buying this brush that I mentioned, and the video about the brushes is already on my channel, so you can check it out, as I already said. And that won't be that much of a problem for you then. Otherwise, if you really suffer for that, maybe all cream blushes are not the best option for you. But it still works. I still like it quite a lot. I think that this might be one of her best. I have the Love palette. It's also a little bit tricky, but I'll make the video on it, I'll make a separate video on it, I think. Love Cheek and Glow palette. Anyway, the colors here are very flattering, they are very beautiful. And if you're really into blush and you like this flushy cheeks, if you like the glow, this will be a very nice piece for your collection. And especially if you're going to use it yourself, because for a makeup artist it's a little bit more tricky due to the hygiene problems. I don't actually use it that much on my clients. I usually use these powder products on them and the creams on myself because I don't want to risk ruining the foundation, and I really do it very seldom. So the top row, this row, is mostly for my use only. So you should also think about that as well. I have this palette for almost a year now. It will be turning a year in only 2 weeks. I know that you should use it only for 18 months after opening, and I tamed it, so I really found the way to work with it, and I hope that my experience will help you as well if you already have this palette. I hope that it won't go bad in half a year. Really hope so. At least powders won't. I'm sure for it's for sure. I'm a little bit more worried about the creams, and if they do, I'll just take out the powder products out of it. So if it goes bad, I'll just take these 2 pans out and put it in my magnet palette. That's not a big of a deal. So I really like this palette. It truly blends nicely, and if you're into blushes, maybe you can try it. It's quite expensive, and of course you might be sitting there and asking me or yourself, does an expensive palette needs to be tamed to find the way to use it in a nice way? So of course it's more likely like not that much, but you still have to use proper tools. And I found the perfect tools for it, to use it and have a very nice user experience. So is it hard to use now? No, it's not hard to use now, as I found that way. Was it hard to find the right way? Yes, it was hard to find the right tools. Anyway, I like this palette. It's very nice. It's like flushy and always gives me like this a bit of an excitement. Like, I feel younger with this palette. And these are all my thoughts of it, so buy it or not, it's now on you. Just take your time and really consider that palette. I really hope that you like this review and this makeup look. And if you liked, please consider subscribing. This will be very sweet of you. And write down in the comment section if you have any Natasha Denona products, and if you have your face palettes, which one is your favorite, and would you buy it again? And I really hope that you check out my Instagram accounts. I have an Instagram for my makeup works and for my photography. And see you next time. Bye bye.